And they're all like tabbed. So, you know what? I'll show y'all who this is, who Marissa Matthews is, because yeah, I'm seeing a lot of confusion about who that is. This is also my goal is to not dox myself in this stream because it's like 3 out of 4 streams I do it at least once. So let's try to not do that today, hopefully, and then I can keep this up and then everything will be fine.
I'm having a solo dinner. I'm having
my Sunday roast.
Match.
That British lady is gonna teach me how to make potatoes. Anyway. Where are we here? How do I have the motivation to do all this? Masochism, mostly, I think. Yes. I am starting to change the introduction to the Rhetoric of series videos a little bit, in the sense of I'm having a little line that says this is the series where we literally read someone to filth. No, she's not British. The British joke thing was because when I opened up TikTok, you can't see it. It was a lady making a Sunday roast videos. I'm like low-key secretly her biggest fan. I need to find one that's not copyright written, so this is gonna be very slay and epic. Hold on. I want the lettuce video, because that one makes me laugh a little bit. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on, I gotta get the door. Okay, I'm back, sorry. My boyfriend is not available and the delivery guy just came. Okay. Where was I? Lettuce video. Where is it? I need to find it because it's a masterpiece. I screen recorded it for myself because, of course, our girls got the downloads off. But, alas. Give me that lettuce video. Oh. Okay. So here's a video of Marissa cooking lettuce. And I'm double checking for not doxing myself again. Okay, so this is primary display. Oh, now we're cooking with gas. All right. Yes, like the stream or whatever. And now we will watch the lettuce video. There has to be follow-ups, unfortunately, because of like the lore that's going on here.
If you really cared about health, you would not be fat shaming creators on the internet. Because if you really cared about health, you would know how bad that is for someone's mental health. If you really cared about health, you wouldn't be talking about the obesity epidemic. You'd probably be talking about food insecurity. If you really cared about health, you would probably know that 1 in 9 Americans don't have consistent access to safe food. If you really cared about health, you would care about food deserts. But the thing is, I don't think you really care about health. If you really cared...
We are looking at Marissa Matthews. This is the topic of my next, the Rhetoric of video. And I'm just trying to find the video where she gets mad about the lettuce.
fucking sense. In one breath, you will tell—
Oh yeah, it's this one. Okay. Understand that I am no what's his name? There's like this guy that makes, hold on, I'll make me big again and I'll look it up. I'm no Fundy Fridays, or it's called like, I'm not approaching this like this guy does, where like I'm gonna be mean to people. I don't really like doing that. And I think the nuances of the video I have are very strong. Funny Fridays used to be, I found, kind of like, just like the, haha, fat people are fat and they're cringe because they're fat, haha, which I didn't like. The videos are much better now and they're much more essayist types. Like, they're more like not kind of trolly. This guy, though, it's like reacts and goes like, haha, they're fat. I don't really do that. So that's not what we're going for. My script is 8 pages long, handwritten, no spaces. So pretty long. We got lots to dive into. Almost clicked my notifications. So now we go back to here. Now, this is who we're dealing with.
Some of y'all make no fucking sense. In one breath, you will tell fat people to only eat salads, to eat less food, and to eat more veggies. And then when said fat person does, y'all are like, oh my god, why are you grilling lettuce? Why are you eating the lettuce like that? Why are you sauteing the lettuce? Isn't it soggy? Is that still crunchy? Why are you eating it like that? So which one is it?
Why are you talking like that?
That's my I think you're stupid voice, Mom. You know that. So which one is it, folks? You tell me to eat more lettuce, you tell me to eat more vegetables, and then I do, and then you're fucking upset about it. So make up your mind, people. Make up your mind, or how about we just stop commenting on what people eat? I like that one the best. My fucking god. Some of y'all make no fucking sense. In what?
So this is the clientele that we're dealing with. No, it's lettuce. Girls cooking lettuce. I ordered water flavors, and I'm just trying to make sure they're the right ones. Also because my boyfriend handed me the boxes. Oh, can you grab that, please, sir? And dispose of it. So yeah, no, Hot Girl's grilling lettuce, and I'm gonna insert it into the actual video, and I hope I don't get copyrighted. But I distinctly remember this scene from... Oh, right, I ordered these ones, too. God. I thought someone sent me something. I was kind of excited, but it's okay, because these are fun, too, anyway. Yes. Because I get Amazon wishlist packages still, like, once in a while, but it's way less, common than it used to be. I ordered these for my friend. Because Canada, they don't sell these in, like, the store. You have to order them, and they take, like, a really long time to come in. So it's the Skittles water flavoring for, like, you know, the bevies. And then also the Starburst ones. Anyway, that's for later. So... It's not the, I understand the if she wants to cook her lettuce, who cares type thing. It's the fact that, like, which is just kind of how she argues and, like, positions herself in everything that she does. There's this constant, like, stretching of the argument, and she essentially says that, like, people are fat phobic because they think grilling lettuce is gross. But there is this very distinct scene from Kitchen Nightmares. That I want to add into the video because I remember it. It's this Where's the... Yes, it's here.
Fresh seed scallops, avocado egg rolls, crispy shelled wontons. Wow. Mexican, Asian, Indian. Sounds like fusion.
Speeding this up a lot until it gets to the right place because I don't want my copyright claims.
It's not food, what is it? Is it classic American?
No, I think it's classic Mexican.
With American or twisted chef? Is there a misprint on there? Was that me? Grilled Caesar salad?
No.
Really? The lettuce is grilled?
Chop it on the grill. You never heard of that?
No, I haven't hit London yet. Okay,
Oh, whoops.
I'll start with that. Is there a misprint on there? Was that me? Grilled Caesar salad?
No.
Really? The lettuce is grilled?
Chop it on the grill. You never heard of that?
You see, they've even got the boing sound. Yeah. So, I'm going to explain my thought process here. And I just picked the lettuce video mostly because I knew it wasn't copyrighted with any music or anything. But essentially, it's a demonstration of like the way that she approaches arguments and stuff like that, where it's like, I am going to make myself a victim in any possible context and then use that to be hateful and aggressive towards other people. Because it's not the lettuce that's the problem. Also, because there is literally a like very popular, look, 28 million views. There is a very popular pop culture moment that literally is like states that grilling lettuce is gross. It's not like it's just something that's like, you know, it's just a weird, people were like, why would you do that? Like, it's almost, if you want to even lean into the fat phobia thing, it would almost more so be like, people are telling you not to grill the lettuce because then you'd like lettuce more if you didn't cook it because it's gross. I had a friend whose parents divorced, and it was like big time divorced dad energy from like her dad. And I had dinner with them once, and he cooked lettuce, and it was awful. It was awful because the flavor that it makes it's bitter and like sour. Like it doesn't bring up good flavors, and if you were to cook it, it has to be in like very specific circumstances, right? But I can guarantee you grilling it in butter on a pan and putting it on a sandwich isn't one of those circumstances. Not even that, it's just the fact that people were just like, that's weird, because you just don't normally do that. And they were just pointing it out because they're like, that's weird. And then she turns it into this whole thing. The actual inspiration for the video was because she kept essentially being like, oh, if you're calling me fat, it's racist because racism leads to fat phobia. And I'm just going to put this behind because I'm going to open my files for a second. And I'm going to show y'all something that I've done for the greater good of the universe. Why the new Windows search feature is the worst thing on earth, and it makes me angry every day. Here we go. Fried lettuce. I don't know. I have a lot of friends who are like East Asian and do a lot of the cooking and stuff. And I've been to a lot of the restaurants. I've never seen lettuce. I've seen the cabbage, like the Korean cabbage, which looks like lettuce, but it's a completely different flavor profile. Like it's entirely, I like that, like we moved on to like the debate. Anyway, this is me downloading all of Fearing the Black Body, which is the book that a lot of people in the health at every size movement reference when they say that, like, you know, it's linked to racism. Now, I still think that's the case, but the problem is when it's white women being called fat, and then they go, actually, you're being racist, right? You see, like, the alignment issue there? It's really, really counterintuitive liberal white feminism that's an issue. Anyway, I read this. I read up to, I think I got to halfway through Thinness as American Exceptionalism. And here's the problem. For one, and I hate to be a hater, this is just not a well-written book. Like, I don't really know how to swing it, and I did not go into it. I didn't watch any videos. I didn't read any reviews. This was available on my university library proxy, so that means, like, I didn't even see, like, it's like you buy a book on Amazon, right, and it's got, like, the little reviews on it. I didn't even have those, so it was just, I just had access to it. This was before people on the internet. This was legally obtained. Because it was. I got it through the university library. So, they reference this book all the time, right? But the problem is that when this book goes through the history of, like, fatness and that sort of, this sort of, like, connection that's being made is very weak. And the premise of the sort of diet movement starting based on the sort of history through this book is actually based on white men from Europe that were, like, philosophers and stuff, where they were, like, the thinkers, and they kept, like, going to cafes and getting drunk all day. No, Rig Banana, actually legally obtained. Like, fully, really legally obtained. Actually fully legally obtained. Here, I'll even prove it. Because I'm gonna do it for the government, so they don't come for me. Because I understand that, like, there's a bit of copyright issues that come with. See? Right there. That's and I have available. Got him. Yeah, we do everything by the book, for sure. Anyway, yeah, so, by the book, no pun intended, too, actually, that's kind of funny. Anyway, so, the book links the disdain towards fatness because it was these guys drinking themselves to death and eating themselves to death in the sense that they were just eating, like, butter, bread, and drinking, and then they were getting sick, and, like, being, like, 400 or 500 pounds. And then they were like, wait, maybe that's bad. So, it's definitely, like, and I understand, again, like I said, I even say in the video, too, like, I'm fully on board with the link being there. The thing is that this book, I don't know if it's the one that you want to be pulling from. It's not great. The writing of it is really chunky, and she just uses way too many, like, convoluted terms. And I essentially have the master's degree. I just have a 5-minute presentation to do for my capstone in, like, a week from now, but everything else is done. And it's one thing that's really fundamental in education, especially when you go into, like, ed research. It's like, you cannot teach something from a hate lens, if that makes sense. Like, no matter how disparaged you are, you need to approach things objectively, because rejection is the biggest barrier to, like, learning something. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Is there's other books that are better. It's just this one is not. I don't know if it's the one you really want to be. And I think the thing is, and I'm going to say this with my chest, and I might get hate for it. They didn't read it. Girly, you didn't read it. You looked at the book cover. You might have read, like, the introduction available on Google reviews and then rolled with it. Because, yeah, so it doesn't talk about food deserts and everything. It's essentially just saying, like, white people hated Africans in the slave trade. some of the Africans had like, how do I say this? Like more voluptuous features, like curvier or whatever. And then from there, they like built a hatred towards black people. But the thing is that her building like the hatred of fat people from blackness is often substantiated by white people not liking fatness because it was killing them. You see what I'm saying? It's in the sense of like logically, the formations of the book are not well done. That's what I want to say. And I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to show how they all pull from the same one, never reference it directly, and summarize it very poorly. Because I genuinely don't think they read it. There's a TikTok from this too. Hold on. That Marissa like stitches. Is it the pinned one? Hold on. We're gonna put this back here because if I search something wrong and whatever.
Here's your reminder that
Oh no! Oh, so this is just a stupid stitch. This is what I'm talking about.
Here's your reminder that fat phobia is rooted in racism.
Diseases and complications due to obesity worldwide.
Now, I also like, I don't know, I have this like feeling. Oh, here we go.
Here's your reminder.
So here's Marissa just stitching it.
That fat phobia is rooted in racism. As always, if you haven't read this book, go do that. The main thing to understand is that for the last 300-ish years, white folks have been marketing fatness as a black trait. And this is regardless of whether or not black people individually.
That doesn't happen in the book. That's the thing. Well, okay, hold on. Qualifier. It happens in the book, kind of, but is often substantiated by it being marked as a white trait. Like, I want to see if I can pull up we're going to go back to this. I want to see if I can pull up the chapter. Is it this? The parts of the book are very, very long, so this is going to be... What if I look up the word gout? It's definitely not going to run that well when I'm streaming. Anyway. They talk about this guy who drafted out perfection from books based on like what his wife looked like and stuff. Talk about Venus. Sam at every size goes through it through a historiography context, which means the way that history is told. And it was better than what I could do. So I'm kind of just going to applaud, suggest that people read it, but it's definitely not the way that they essentially pull like the best parts out of context and then stack it together as the means of like addressing the argument. Because the thing is too, like I said, it's weird because I think that link is there and it is, but it's just, hold on. Essentially, they're just saying that how they went back and forth between like voluptuous women and, you know, what it looks like for black women depictions versus male depictions. Here we go. Hold on. I'll put this back here so we can prove that I'm reading it. But with the improved standard of living came with the dissipations of the high life, which dissipation doesn't need to be there. Again, it's the way that she words it is also very hard to read. While malnutrition remained prevailing concern for most of the population, a mounting number of modernity well-off were growing fat. Doctors in England eyed the swelling number of fat people with consternation. In 1620, okay, they just define obesity. The changes in the English diet enabled by sugar plantations in the colonies also led to the rising rates of purportedly related illness, gout, with the introduction of sugar and sugar-sweetened alcoholic beverages such as sacks, a sugar-sweetened wine. Gout was becoming an epidemic in England, particularly among men who were susceptible to the illness. Known previously as the disease of King and the king of diseases, by 1683 it was a sweeping problem of gout that prompted Dr. Thomas Sydenham to write a treatise of gout and dropsy in an effort to detail the etiology, I can't speak, of the disease and offer practical advice to its sufferers. But the link is more so through not the appearance of per the book, not the appearance per the women, but how they were able to like take calorically dense foods from Africa. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I'm just going to keep playing this, though.
Individually were actually fat. That was irrelevant. The message they spread was that black women specifically were ravenous and uncontrollable, and these barbaric traits made them fat. On the flip side, thinness was marketed as a white trait. Again, regardless of whether or not individual white people were actually thin, that was irrelevant. The idea was that white women specifically were refined and restrained, and this led them to having delicate, thin bodies. Over the years, these messages have become more subtle, but even today, they are still very prevalent in conversations around race, health, capitalism, and poverty.
Yes, but also still not right. Because per the argument of the way that Marissa approaches things, capitalism as the means of these of putting forth these sorts of like the fatness, if you will, would mean that it's unhealthy. Because if you don't have access, she's saying things like with the capitalism and stuff, she's referring to the food deserts where essentially like, which I remember there was like a, I watched this, it was years and years ago, cannot tell you what it is, but it was like, they showed like black neighborhoods to say like certain boroughs and things like that. And then showed what restaurants were around it. There was like a Popeyes, a Denny's, a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, whatever. And like the nearest within walking distance of like these particular apartments. And then there was no grocery store within walking distance, and it could only really be driven to. But then that would mean that they're fat because of the unhealthy food, which means that they're unhealthy in that context. You see what I'm saying? It's this cyclic reasoning is not it's not able to sustain itself in the way that they're doing it, right? I don't know. I'm actually genuinely like really terrified about this video because of how layered it is and how I'm not saying that like the treatment of fat women is acceptable by any means. The treatment of fat people in society in general, as it stands now, as acceptable, because it's not. What I'm saying is that if you're doing it this way, you are counterintuitive to the movement. And I just feel, and because like I said, the rhetoric of videos too in general are based on some person's particular style of doing something, and then I look at that, right? That's why like the figures that I go for are not always like super popular, because it's about the way that they approach it, you know? Like here, I can read some of the script actually. Also, hi Hannah. She also links like hate comments to consent. which is not great. Here, this is what I wrote. Marissa makes points with some of her responses. She, however, in the way that she presents things, dilutes any of the initial messaging. Like, I completely understand that and I agree that no one should be harassed or given hate comments or death threats. However, when she begins to draw the issue to consent, whilst also appearing to be incredibly emotionally unstable, it becomes a comical premise. My grimace just fell off my slide. 1 second. I have the my grad gift to myself was the grimace slides. My little grimace fell off. It's just really hard to get grimace back in there. There we go. I'm gonna keep reading. I love the slides, by the way. I want to make this abundantly clear. The core messaging is not the issue for me, in the sense that I am well aware of the biases in the healthcare system, presence of food deserts, and lack of certain foods, differences in biology, and health conditions. This video serves as the purpose of indicating what the result is when you put forward messaging in a way that makes the message seem hyperbolic and foolish. Marissa, for example, draws parallels between negative comments towards her and consent. I'll put some examples in. Here is something that Marissa takes for granted, but it constantly blows up in her face. Marissa assumes that in all circumstances, her commentary is abundantly clear, and instead of understanding things like knowledge gaps, missing context cues, or perhaps the point had gaps in it, and people are outside of your mind, they're not seeing the same things as you, she lashes out at them aggressively. This happens to me all the time when I make videos. And then I just talked about that sort of dealio. So, and I cite my sources so much in here, clearly. I showed all the books earlier. But that's the approach that I'm taking with it, where it's like, I guess I'm sort of like trying to be like, if you want your message to come across, don't be like this. Does that make sense? I hope so. I'm trying so hard. Anyway, so this is the product of my next, the rhetoric of dealio. And, yeah. TLDR on what she did, she's just, like, really, really aggressive and horrible to people. Here, like...
Oh, right, I forgot. I'm the problem. It sounds like they just shouldn't be a shit human being. But it's my fault for the people bullying me, and it's my fault for reading it. Even though I'd really have to, like, read it.
This is actually incredibly tame. Hold on. There are way better examples. I'm just trying not to get copyrighted at the same time. Boo, 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 boo. And there's just, I have all the ones like screen recorded for my actual video. It's not, like, I'm not this unaware. I just don't want to, obviously I don't want to screen share my phone. That would be nuts.
Everyone, we have a new cult. I know I haven't talked about my my potato cult in a long time, but we have another cult. The cult of fat acceptance. Apparently it's a cult now. Everyone come. So yes, I do love food, because, I need to eat to live, right? Now,
this is not proving my point. I have better ones than this.
Apart from the fact that I disagree with you, I'm genuinely curious, where have I complained about being fat on my page? Or in my entire life? Where have I complained about hating my body? Where have I complained about not liking myself because I'm fat and whatnot? Where have I complained about my body or being fat? Or maybe even, like, personal, like, issues related? But where have I complained about those? Because I think
there's also the issue of denying that weight gain can cause any health issues. Like, I was on Lexapro for a few months, and I gained weight really rapidly, which I'm already kind of on the downswing of, or like, I guess, recovering from, for lack of a better term. But then also at the same time, the rapid weight gain threw off my hormones, and then I stopped having a cycle. So, and Lexapro, the research for Lexapro says there's no signs of that ever happening, but rapid weight gain due to medication can throw your cycle off. So it's like, so we're not, yes, critiquing anti-fat bias with lots of yelling and zeros. Yeah, yes. Essentially, she decided that her mission is to harass people because fat phobia exists. And I'm kind of trying to be like, this is not how you approach that. Yeah, it was because of medication. I'm just not on anything anymore. I was so, as far as SSRIs go and everything, I was on 20 milligrams of Lexapro, which is a lot, and it did literally nothing. Like, didn't get side effects really, in the sense of like twitches or tiredness or anything like that. Just really aggressive weight gain. And then I had gotten off of it, and then we just never put on anything else, because they essentially said, like, with the type of anxiety disorder that I have, it would have to be benzodiazepines, which I'm not about. I'm not about to be in my Jordan Peterson arc. Yeah, well, I do. I read from, like, I reference other creators, and I just talk about, like, the way that you should approach arguments in general in conjunction with her videos. Does that make sense? And like I said, I preface so many times in the video where it's like, the core messaging isn't the issue. It's the antagonistic approach to it that's the problem. You know? Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, so that's where we're going. It's, like I said, it's literally me just being like, this is why people criticize you. I did that with me not remembering what videos I've made. Hold on. Well, with Swoop, that was what the Swoop video was like, this is why you're in this issue. I have some that are very based on, like, why you're being criticized. True crime community. All of my true crime stuff's always why they're being criticized, not on specific on specific contents themselves, rather. Yeah, so sorry, I'm just reading the chat and I just can't seem to not be able to read. I need to make more members audios too, now that I have, like, time. It was just me, like,
so today
ranting,
I come to you sitting in my apartment by myself when I haven't filmed in like 2 weeks, trying to figure out what to do because the entire internet is falling apart.
But yeah, so that's what that's the member perk thing that I will be doing. And I don't really plan on doing, like, full-time employment until after the new year. So I'll be just juicing a lot of content. Anyway, oh, the Rhetoric of Young Dumb Honey Bun is a very strong, like, this is why you're being criticized video. The Miasaurus was also another one of, like, this is why you're being criticized. Amberlynn Reid videos are always based on this is why you're being criticized, not on, like, trust me, watch my Amberlynn Reid videos if you think that I don't know how to approach, like, nuances around fat phobia, I think, is what I would say to that. As far as any anxiety that comes into place, I think I'll be okay. The teacher strike, Alexei, did not affect it. They decided to not extend it, even though I only missed 4 total days because of it. So because it ended on Friday, they just decided, like, in the last week to extend it would be very silly. So they did not. And now I am free. I haven't decided yet if I'm actually going to teach because the work conditions are a little bit intense. But so now I want to do a drama video this week too. And we're going to do Matt Rife versus TikTok. Unless anyone has other suggestions. But I'm going to give the chat a minute to decide. But that's what I'm going with right now. Let me know if that's awful. And while I wait to see, I will put the lo-fi hip-hop beats back on. Nova, unfortunately, there is no update on YDHB. Like, she's done nothing. Because believe me, I would love an update. Sounds like a good plan. Okay, epic. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to... I'm gonna do the thing again where I go like this. And I'm going to look up... I think the reason why I want to do a Marissa Matthews video is that I think a lot of the, like, I have a lot of problems with it. And then I think a lot of other videos don't do a good job of actually describing what the issue is. I think that's what I'm thinking. Now, Ashley, I did do an update on, well, I did the Colleen video. That's like my most recent one. So I'm not about to do 2 in a row, especially because I got really tired of talking about her. Given that, like, and it's not that the issue didn't need to be discussed, because it definitely did. It's more so that I didn't grow up watching her. I didn't have internet growing up, so it was just like I was missing a lot of that sort of nuance and, like, the older context and stuff.
He's the perfect person to not apologize.
Let's just watch some videos, and I want thoughts in the chat, possibly. Be XQC. Chat! Chat! I don't know what BRG is. So if we could have a full write out of that, I would love to look into it.
Because comedians have been complaining for years now, saying, you know what? Cancel culture is killing our craft. We feel like we cannot say anything before we are canceled. And we saw this with Kevin Hart in 2019. They brought up an old tweet and he lost his job as host of the Oscars. And if there's one person who can stand 10 toes down and say, I'm not apologizing, is a young white male.
Wow, that's an excellent point. Here's where
nothing, very little to lose, unlike another. If it was a black woman, if it was a queer comedian, they know they would have disappeared and that would be it. But so he is standing up for all of his comedians who have been complaining for years. You know.
Every time someone older than 40 says the word cancel culture, I just like die inside. I just die inside. I was literally, for those of you who like are from Quebec, you've probably heard like the term QEP before, which is like the provincial like education curriculum, which in Quebec is like standardized. And the lady who wrote it for English, I had an argument about, like, she came to our class to do a presentation, and she after that it was right when the Ashton Kutcher Mila Kunis thing happened, and I literally got an argument. I really got an argument with her about her use of the sort of like that she doesn't understand what that actually means, and she's not applying it properly, and then she's like, well, like, how would you know? And I'm like, girl, you don't know what I do for a living. So such a tough issue. Anyone interested in these issues recommend the Media Space podcast? Oh, yes. Like, yes, the fat phobia stuff. I agree. That didn't know Quebec. Yeah, after she said the education plan was perfect and never needed to be changed, I was like, oh my god. I was just like, girl. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, I was not crazy about that one. Anyway, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna keep scrolling until there's one that actually is
the
relevant.
ladies loved.
Oh my god, it's Ethan Klein jump scare.
Zendaya called it in 2017 when she was not having it with Matt Rife.
Hey Zendaya. I'm Matt Rife. You're mixed. I want to be black. Let's make a lifestyle movie.
What?
Spit that water out so I...
Oh, did you see the Matt Rife? Girl. Good lord, help me. What else was I gonna say? Oh my god, when I was teaching, one of my students showed me to her aunt, and then her aunt was already subscribed to me. So if you know who you are, hello, hi, how are you? Hello, Kat. Yeah, there's a lot of silliness going on.
Drama?
No, there's drama? Matt Rife drama? Matt Rife?
Yeah.
Bradley Martin. No.
You're a black person and you don't understand the Matt Rife controversy. I'm going to explain it to you in 90 seconds, as simple as I possibly
Like, this is not for me.
Matt Rife took a PPP loan from suburban white people and didn't pay it back. I watched a video from this woman earlier that said a quote, and it goes by, if someone gives you a gift and they're hoping to get a gift in return, that's no longer a gift. And I want to add another point to that. It's no longer a gift, but it's a curse. Yeah, as we talk about shadow talk on this page, I want you to understand it goes both ways. If you were on the internet a month ago, you would have thought Matt Rife was the most attractive looking dude on the planet. But guess who that thought was coming from? Not you.
What?
It wasn't me. Who was it coming from? It was coming from people that actually didn't mean it, but wanted to get a gift in return for being disingenuous.
Okay, wait, hold on. I need one that's clear to me. The analogies are confusing me.
Goes? I don't know if you can tell by looking at me. I do have family members with Down syndrome. It almost got me.
So why is Matt Rife in hot water for making jokes like these, but Shane Gillis seemingly isn't?
Hello.
They're both uncomfortable. They're both offensive.
I
think the answer lies in why they made those jokes. Matt Rife has already talked about the reason why he did the jokes he did was that he wanted women to know that he's not doing it for them. Shane, I believe, who was again very offensive, said the R slurs several times that made me feel weird inside, also made me laugh. And I think the reason he made those jokes is his thesis is, isn't the line hard to draw? Now you can agree or disagree with Shane about that, but he did what a comedian is supposed to do. Make you question, and then think about it and form your own opinions. Matt Rife, on the other hand,
man's just cramming in the crackers.
Was say, F you to women. I'm gonna say what I want so the boys come out, and I want them to follow me instead of the lady who made me rich in the first place.
That's where the extra chromosome goes.
Thank you, Mia.
I'm sorry, did you see Matt?
Oh my god, y'all. The way that, like, the internship made me so poor. Oh my god. So you're gonna be getting a lot of content because we gotta make them for some lost time, kiddos. And I hate making things about like money because it's silly and I don't think it actually is supposed to be like that. But like, it's been wild out here. Anyway, so we're gonna do another one of these streams when I actually finish the degree, which I think is what, December 6th.
Rife's Instagram story. I'm never one to like throw my hat in the ring to like talk about celebrities in this way, but oh my god. I know there's a lot of buzz around his Netflix special. I haven't watched it yet. I was going to. But apparently there are a few jokes in there that people are getting offended by or upset about, and in response he posted this. If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official
I need
apology.
this.
And the link is to special needs helmets. I'm not making this up. This is still on his story. If he
Epic.
was upset that people were
Epic
offended by
W
his
style.
jokes, he could have just not said something. I feel like celebrities and comedians always make it worse when they try to double down or make a joke about people's offense. And like the special needs thing, like, come on. I'm sorry, did you
think that for the first time, locker room talk or guy talk is finally being recorded and put on the internet for women to consume?
Right now, if you go on TV, you will not find one show where men talk about their dating life and their preferences. However, shows like The View, Wendy Williams, etc. are all over cable television.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on. I actually kind of want to see. Hold on.
But with the rise of podcasts, men took their locker room conversations, barbershop conversations, and took them to the world for women to see. And about a couple years ago when Fresh and Fit really blew up, a lot of girls are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe men talk like this. I'm like, baby, your man, your dad, your grandpa all talked like that. They all did. The issue is they knew to shut the F up when you were around because you wouldn't understand it. Even this awesome woman here admits it. They talk like this too.
We don't. Oh my god, I need this one too. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, men just hid that they hate women, actually. And you guys are stupid for thinking we ever liked you. Girl. Oh boy. Yeah. That's epic style. I hope this guy dies alone in Minecraft.
Can we agree to bring back judging a book by its cover? You're telling me this guy turned out to be not great? This guy turned out to be an asshole? You're saying Matt Rife himself
The wolf tattoo should have been the cue, just saying.
hates women.
Got wicked eyelashes, though.
Can we agree to bring back
Oh, it's
judging a
because of
book
the
by its
filter!
cover?
I am.
Wait, is this just related content?
Matt Rife is.
I am so nervous right now, but I have some important updates to share with you all. As many of you may or may not have realized, I've been gone for a while.
Oh.
Matt Rife is facing backlash over a joke he made about domestic violence.
If she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
Responding to the criticism he posted on Instagram. If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. However, fans became more enraged when the link sent them to a website selling helmets for people with special needs. Rife, though, is seemingly unfazed by the backlash, boasting his special success, whilst
my
many call
God.
for the comedian.
This is the Daily Mail comments. That's why they're so unhinged. I need these.
To be canceled. Matt Rife is facing backlash over.
Comedian Matt Rife is getting tons of backlash for
I like
this
that they
joke.
just don't point out the backlash ever.
She wouldn't have that black eye.
He opened his Netflix special with that joke, saying he was testing the waters. The clip got tons of views on social, with many criticizing him for making light of domestic violence.
It takes a great
Oh,
deal
here
of
we go.
intellect
Okay.
and wit and a unique perspective in order to write quality jokes. But it takes a single-digit IQ to laugh at a joke where the punchline
What's too
is
serious?
you hitting women.
Many also said they couldn't understand why he made that joke when a huge portion of his fan base is women. After the criticism, Rife posted an Instagram story linking to what seemed like an official apology, but was really a website selling helmets for people with special needs. NBC News reached out to his reps multiple times, but they haven't responded. Comedian Matt
People
Rife is
don't
getting
respond,
tons of
like-
backlash for this joke.
Yeah, but I feel like if she could.
When the reps stop responding, that's always bad news bears, I feel like. Bye, MC. See you around. Recently, my feed just Insta is just, we hate men. Here are receipts. What do you mean? Like, in what context? I'm curious. I'm actually like,
I think I'm going to open my show with a joke about domestic violence. Oh, like a clever piece of satire that can offer some catharsis to domestic violence victims? No, I'm thinking more something at the expense of domestic violence victims, about a waitress with a black eye, and then the punchline, get it, is she got it because...
Okay, we see that was... I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. But the... I'm going to hell. The punchline thing is a little bit funny. But it's good. Well, it's in context to everything. Hi, Isaac. How's it going? His submissive bottom era? Who said that? Oh. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I want to keep those comments too. Because I'm going to save it to my other one. And then new screenshot. Funny comments. All right. Yes, I am. So I don't think you guys necessarily understand because, like, right, we're in an era where we're so oh yeah, like the stream or whatever. We're in an era where we're so concerned with or like everybody who makes content that you're seeing a lot of the time, because of the saturation of the platform, it's really like only the already popular people that come to the top more often, or it's the people who were already like well off enough to have like really nice looking content right away. That's how I feel a lot of the time, right? And a lot of them don't have like other stuff that they have to do. And a lot of people were getting annoyed at times with some of my more recent videos in the sense of that I wasn't doing these like huge, unpacking, or I would have opinions about stuff, but I wouldn't spend like an hour substantiating every single piece of something that I said with a book, which everybody else doesn't do, right? And I understand that like I built the platform for myself as far as what brought me here. And I also get that you're going to have a bit of a different approach or a different response, rather, if your approach does change. And that's why I'm not really mad about it or anything. But like, I'll tell y'all my schedule on every day, like what a day was for me. So I woke up at 6 a.m. Then at 7 a.m., I would leave my house, drive to school, because I got my driver's license. Then I would work from 7:30 to 2:30. Then I would drive home, which would, because it was rush hour ish, I would get home at like 3:30, let's say 3:30. Then I would have to shower. So now it's like 10 after 4. I typically had a private teaching session or something like that from like 5 to 6, and then another one from 7 to 8. In that hour in the middle, I would make dinner. And then at 8 o'clock, I would script something. And then on a different day, if I didn't have tutoring sessions, I'd come home, touch up my makeup, film and edit the video in the same night, go to bed around 11 to wake up at 6. Then there was another day of the week where I had class. So I would drive home, take the heavy stuff out of my backpack, then transit to school because it was downtown. It was too difficult to park. And then I would get home at 9:30. Then I would eat dinner, shower, go to bed. It'd be like almost midnight. And then on the weekends, I would get up, give myself 2 hours off. Crazy. Where I'd have on, if I could, then I would eat something. I would have like a little latte. I'd make myself a little latte. And then I would work a couple hours with students. Then I would correct and prep for the week. Sunday, I had a lot of students. And sometimes I do something on Saturday night or Friday night, depending on how much I had that week. So I would be scripting videos. I would be doing like supervision shifts or whatever. And I would be like collecting screenshots, or I would be doing, I'd be like on the metro with my iPad on my knee, like scripting the videos. And then I kept getting like sponsorship offers and had to decline them because I couldn't meet the time frame that they wanted. And I actually, the worst part is I had one where I didn't meet the view requirement and I have to do another video for free. And they're withholding my pay from the first one until it's done. So I've even been having issues like that, and I've been in my flop era. So then I'm not making enough money, but I don't have time to work, so I've been like aggressively poor, plus everything going on. And then I made a couple videos where I criticized people that my fans liked, and I said I like them and most of their content. This is why this is happening, though. And I've been talking about this sort of work-life balance that I've had, and I've had people either saying things like, let's say, regarding the people that they like, that I'm like jealous and making all these comments on my character, despite the abundance of disclaimers, or I've had people say that I'm promoting toxic grind culture. So, which just by like being alive, and it's like, what? Respectfully, what do you want me to do? This is the easiest possible job proportion to the income that it generates that I could have possibly been doing, and unfortunately, I'm from a single income minimum wage household in severe student debt and poverty. I can't not work, but it just is a lot of, you know, it's like, it's been psychologically affecting me a little bit for sure. Like, I've had a really, really hard time, like, getting back to it. Like, really getting back to it. Like, this upcoming videos been giving me, like, crazy anxiety. And so is this, and just doing anything. And then, because the thing is, too, it's like, I'm doing all this stuff, and then I'm getting, like, 20,000 views, which is, like, not enough money to, like, pay my bills. So it's just been, like, like, girl. And, like, Oh man. Plus the responsibility. Oh, the worst part is with the whole Israel-Palestine issue. I taught in an area with a lot of Jewish students, and I also live in an area that has a lot of pro-Israel sentiment, and I was not allowed to talk about it, or I could be fired from my internship and removed from my program. So there's also that. So there's those pressures of wanting to advocate and wanting to do these things, but then it's like, do I throw away my whole life for that? For just this time that I knew was temporary? Because if it isn't already obvious, I'm very pro-Palestine. So it's just like been... You do YouTube to fund the internship to hopefully get the job that's not going to be... Yeah. So because I have a master's, I will start, and I'll tell you, I'll go straight up. You know what? We're going to do something crazy. We're going to be very based for a second. This one? No, I want the scale. Here we go. This is how much money I would make. So, because I have a master's degree, I'm going to start here. $55,326 a year. So, and I do agree the problem is that the stages aren't paid. For undergrads, they get grants and stuff sometimes, but for the master students, we don't for some reason. We're not, by the way, in Quebec specifically, especially if you do a coursework master's, you're not funded. I paid all of my tuition entirely out of pocket. I was denied all TA positions and have made nothing. So, yeah. Yeah, 55,000 Canadians. That's like 48,000, maybe less than that. Hold on. $40,000 a year, US. So, and I calculated recently for taxes how much I've spent on tuition, and it was 46,000 Canadian dollars I've spent on tuition. So on tuition, by the way, not the rest of it. Tuition only. Like that's tax deductible tuition expense. So, and I think even though this whole live stream is like entirely derailed, I think this is something that's like incredibly important. And this is why those of you who are in Canada should stand in solidarity with the teachers in Quebec in particular, because they're the most willing to strike. I think something that I learned, and this is no hate to my Ontarians, there's a certain complacency that exists within other provinces and other groups. Like, when I'm saying groups, I mean like the English. French people are, and I don't know why this is, it's the same thing as like they made the guillotine, you know what I mean? There's a willingness for I've noticed from the Quebecois to act more aggressively against something than other provinces. So Quebec teachers striking is good for everybody. So right now, it's something like 6 or 7% of the population of the entire province is on strike. It is so hard to pay out of pocket without doing a lot of... I didn't pay out of pocket. I got student loans. But I noticed this difference in attitude when I lived in Waterloo for 3 years to do my undergrad, I would say things like, in regard to like the University of Waterloo, let's say for example, is unique in the sense of it is one of 2 or 3 public institutions in the entire country with no grad student union. McGill, in contrast, has 3 grad student unions. Waterloo has none. Waterloo wanted to give me $18,000 to design and run a class and do my master's at the same time while living in Southern Ontario. So my apartment is $1,100 a month. Okay, for 2 bedrooms. I got that was 2022 rate, so it's not that far back. This same apartment in Kitchener, when I was looking, exactly the same type of thing. Actually less good, for lack of a better term, because it didn't have some of the features that this one has. Plus, like, it wasn't in like a place that's actually fun to live. This same apartment in Kitchener was $2,100 a month. So I would have paid essentially double to live there. So $18,000 a year was the funding they were going to give me. And in front of the guy giving me the offer, I did the math in front of him. Like, I had my phone. Let's not dox anybody. Hold on. I had my phone on the calculator, and I was like, hey, you want to pay me $12 an hour to design and teach a university level course at one of the best institutions in the country. For those of you who went to University of Waterloo, they wanted me to teach science communications, which is a mandatory course for all of the science faculty in undergraduate. And then I literally was like to his face, like, that's so stupid. Like, I was like, that's terrible. And they offered me like 5 times. They really, really wanted me to go. Because I had really good, I ended up graduating like towards the top of the faculty, like top 5% of the faculty or whatever. So they contact you when you're in that sort of range, and then So yeah, when I was looking at how much money I had a month and I was losing $1,000 a month, which was the same thing that would have happened if I moved here unfunded. But also the degree here more or less guaranteed me a job because you get what's called a brevet in Quebec. It's a teacher certificate. So this is all alleged or whatever. People ask me. But yeah, they essentially also wanted me to help contribute to like the difference in the course design, because I did a 46-page research paper on the difference between the quality of education of electrical physics for electronics information technology students who are trade students versus physics undergraduate students. So, yeah. This is the thing, too. And I'm going to do one more grievance. I had somebody, and this comment pissed me off. This comment made me so mad. And I know it's like getting under your skin or whatever. But it was a comment that said, I'm actually going to pull it up, I think. And I think I have the right to pull up my own comments. I don't mean to sound negative, but I've never had a commentary channel stop so many times to pat themselves on the back. You made the whole Jesse and Lily thing about how would you have done things differently and how respectful you try to be. And yet you still slid in this comment. I don't know what it is. No commentary channels are perfect, proven that, yet in the same breath you say something like that when you're talking about how respectful you are. I want to know what that comment is, actually. Hold on. unfortunately how much longer she would have left, I think your beef with the drama channel might not be the... Oh. Because I said the unfortunate reality of how much time Eugenia Cooney would have left. But that's because that's what they said. Like, the people I was talking about. So they didn't understand the context of that and then essentially shit on me for it. So, point is, the reason why I bring in my, like, so-called, like, professional context is because of, like, and I mean this with utmost respect, but when people comment things like that, I beg you to go outside. Like, in the sense of, when I'm applying it to professional context, it's because I'm telling you that you can't act that way without consequences. I think the thing is with this whole thing, and this is what I guess frustrated with influencers and stuff. So let's say like I was talking about Marissa Matthews earlier and the fat phobia and racism thing, right? What have you actually done in any capacity to combat racism, as opposed of using it as an issue to deflect criticism from yourself? Okay. I had an incident in my classroom related to racism where a student commented that another kid looked like Aunt Jemima. I stopped the class for 2 different class periods and then drafted a unit for ERC, which is a Quebec course where you do, it's called Ethics of Religious Culture. And I drafted an anti-racism unit, plus made digestible content for 12-year-olds about intersectionality, prejudice, and microaggressions. And then made them do a project on it that they all had to present to each other. And create tangible resources for. So this is where I'm coming from when I'm saying these things. And it's just really hurtful when people just assume that I'm this like airhead on the internet. Also, hello, Allie. But yeah, it's that's my rant on society. Questions, comments, concerns. But yeah. Like I said, I guess I get frustrated. Yeah, the ERC course is getting changed next year to a Quebec cultures course, which is interesting because when I taught the unit on racism in ERC, the new Quebec culture curriculum actually includes the content that I taught, and I didn't even know that. So, yeah, like, I don't know. Like I said, I guess that's why I get annoyed, right? Because I already know, I'm going to have people be like, well, aren't you a white woman policing who can, like, defend black people, essentially? And it's like, nope. It's because what she's doing, and I have a video from Alana Melissa, who's a black fat woman. So we've got, some backing here from someone who actually, deals with these issues. But, like, it's because I know you're not doing it for that reason. That's the problem. Because you know the difference when you actually do the groundwork. That's what it is. So they are using the issue as a trolling tactic, not because they actually care, even though the core issue is valid. Almost exactly, yes. As opposed to it being a troll tactic, however, it's more so of having so much blockage of addressing criticism that they would rather just be like, well, fat phobia is attached to racism, essentially almost saying you calling me almost. They don't actually say this, or anyone gets mad at me. That like calling you fat is racist, right? Where it's like you're using it as a shield. But have you ever actually done anything? Because also, my research project for my master's degree is on not necessarily forcing, but creating essentially like workshops for older teachers to learn intersectionality, to learn about the political diversity of the younger generation, to learn to tackle these complex topics like fat phobia and racism and all that stuff. And I made a resource database for that, accompanied with my project. So, yeah, it's yeah, that's what I've got going on. So but the thing is, I also understand that people don't know that. So I have to, and that's what I think is, I don't let myself get frustrated about it very often. But I think it was a combination of, I can pull it up. I just need to do it without doxing myself, which is always like the challenge of a lifetime. You know what I mean? I know, like, I keep seeing on Twitter how, like, Ethan Klein put his credit card on his stream and, like, doxed his, employee's phone number or something. And I'm like, I feel like that's, like, low-key me. Another thing that's interesting is I did a unit on graphic design where I let students choose an artist and then write about why they like them and then also make posters and stuff. And I didn't eliminate, I decided inappropriateness not based on the content of the music, but rather like their personal, like their personas as celebrities. And I got that way, as opposed to a lot of other teachers that would be like, oh, well, if there's swear words in the music, you can't do them, which eliminates like all of like rap, R&B, a lot of like pop music stuff as well. I did I only did it based on like their so I said like no Kanye West, like that was off the table. I said like no NLE Choppa because he's gonna go to jail. Or is it him or is it YNB Nelly? I can't remember. Or YNW Nelly, sorry. It was one of the two. Anyways, I had a couple that I said no to just because I didn't want other teachers to get mad at me. But I let them do on who they wanted. And I had a student do theirs on Tupac. And he was 12 or 13, and he wrote about how he really was inspired by Tupac's perception of blackness and how he's inspired by his own blackness in conjunction with hearing the music and stuff, you know? And it was like I really allowed for those sorts of opportunities to come up in any way that they could, you know? Now here's the thing. Before I show anybody this, it's copyrighted, so please don't take it. It's copyrighted already. I will sue in Minecraft, but I will find it. Because I'm really not doing that. Oh my god, I gotta make sure I don't dox my friend either. Making sure my name's not anywhere. Yeah, okay, we're good to go. This is a very, very different stream than I thought it was going to be. I will change this. I'll just have to call it like ranting about society or something. So I said, to my surprise, there were far more limitations to what I was allowed to teach under the guidance of my first cooperating teacher. And in that, I would be sacrificing not only my personal values and intuitions, but having to disregard the work that I've done to build myself as a person who could foster a supportive educational environment. I take the practice of education and leading a group of young people into a world that has faced tremendous changes in the past 3 years very seriously. And as someone who's placed with a very experienced teacher, I was optimistic in how I could learn more. This placement quickly ended due to a conversation about what content was and was not ideal for teaching the current set of students in today's secondary schools. Essentially, the teacher and I discussed the implementation of a quote from J.K. Rowling and if it was necessary to use her works or not. I found that the particular set of circumstances this was not necessary given the many anti-transgender statements and other derogatory messages that Rowling has been publicly sharing on her social media and other platforms as of late, with comments such as, then I commented that, I'm not going to read that for trigger warning purposes, which I should have done before, I apologize. The issue developed into a disrespectful conversation in which I was deemed someone who vouched for censorship when attempting to explain the reasoning that was not to continue a petty argument, rather that I found material to be inappropriate and something that I could not teach whilst being honest with myself. Unknowingly, this changed my perspective on the teaching practice drastically because it was an internal dilemma. What can one do to understand where the students are coming from while the world has changed so much since they became an educator? So that's my thing. I think that's another thing that makes it difficult for me when people dog on the bringing in the professional context thing. I have literally sacrificed myself in my own personal life working in the education sphere because, like, talking back to your cooperating teacher, if they can't find you another one, you have to postpone your degree a full year because they can't. You need to. The internships are like a very specific time frame. So, like, when people try to call me inauthentic or they try to say like you're virtue signaling, or virtue signaling means you don't do anything. Virtue signaling means that it's like you're just trying to make yourself look good. And I kind of hope that this stands as like me proving that I do these things in my real life. And I don't think enough people are upfront with the fact that they do these things in their lives. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, jelly beans? I can show a bit of the try to find things that aren't like horribly boring because it is a thesis, so it's a little bit dry. Oh, here. So I define personal reflection in the context of actually learning about your students. That's what the main focus was. Defining sociocultural dynamics, intersectionality in the classroom. And I'm like understanding the experience of individual students. Teachers that are part of a marginalized group ultimately face conflicts that those the majority do not. Even those who are not part of the majority in general could potentially face difficulties given that the students may not be used to interacting with those of different backgrounds and can thus face prejudice that other members of the faculty do not. So I even went into all of that type of stuff. If I'm talking too fast, it's because I'm very embarrassed about reading my own things. It makes me very anxious, and then I talk too fast. Then I even talk about personal biases and how they block your ability to want to learn. That's also, like, the Marissa Matthews thing is this section. So, what else did I do? And then I have keeping up to date, adaptive teaching contexts. I even cite me and white supremacy. This book. Which is really good. Holly, I'm talking about my capstone. I've gone on a huge rant about how much about like teaching in society. Anyway, this is what I mean when people comment about like they think that I'm virtue signaling or something, and I'm like, girl, that shouldn't be your initial assumption. However, I do understand that I have paper-colored skin. You know, what some people will do, like they'll do white and they'll hold up like a piece of paper. Like, I get it. The author of Me and White Supremacy is Layla F. Is that Said? This. I'll add this to my Amazon book list that I have. I know people don't want to shop Amazon right now. It's because I just don't have anywhere else to, like, the Amazon book list. Like, don't buy the books on there because they'll just send them nowhere anyways. It's just like putting them all in the same place. You know what I mean? It's not affiliated. I don't get any commissions off of it. None of that. I am very upfront when I do have commission things. I'm very clear. The only ones I have right now are any Mavely links or the Gerard Cosmetics stuff or the Every Jewel stuff. But like the books and all that stuff is not, I didn't want to combine, I didn't want to blur the line of the educational content because I wanted people to feel certain with themselves in using that content. You know what I mean? I don't know how Goodreads works or what it is, so that's why I just do it on Amazon because I know what it is. The problem is that, and I mean this like respectfully, like videos on this subject will flop horribly. And I think my research is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Unconventional, maybe? Because I'm kind of targeting experienced teachers, which is like a huge no when you're in the education space. But I was like, I was kind of like, I want to make my own headway, And then I have like how to apply the reflection, the different models. I have resources, and then I have screenshots of my little like database thingy that I made, which literally, look, I have a link to White Supremacy right there. But yeah, I have culturally responsive teaching as well. And yeah, expanding beyond fundamentals and how to continue on if you liked what I have. I say like, I think that I need, I essentially added a section on like what I would do if I had more time. And I said like a resource like this would benefit greatly from resources that come from those who are racially diverse and those in the LGBTQIA2S plus community and those with more experience and those from marginalized communities. So I also make a point to make sure that I'm acknowledging the fact that like my experience limitations are very strong and they are going to be present regardless because the only like, if you're going to do like my intersections, it's like I am from like below poverty class and I'm a woman. That's what I got going on. So the things like the queer community and stuff like that, and the Black community and Indigenous community, I think something that I need to work on too is my knowledge on like Black education philosophy. It doesn't extend too much past like bell hooks and Maya Angelou and like a couple of those like very, very popular figures, but my Indigenous knowledge is much higher. And I just want them to both be good, So if anybody has like recommendations on books for like Blackness in education, like please DM me or whatever. I will, now that I have time, I can actually like look into that a bit more. But that's definitely where my gaps are, which is also why I hedge talking about Blackness sometimes, because I just don't really know what the best line is, So how do you find good, credible academic reading? I always have a hard time finding. Okay, so my suggestion for that is you need to know what publishers there are. It's always publishers. So let's say this, right? So you've got this, I don't know if you can see it, is Yale University Press. This one is Angelico is another one that's pretty good. This one is Skyhouse Publishing. You just kind of need to know the different publishers. I get a lot of stuff from Stanford University Press specifically a lot of the time. Or sorry, not Stanford, Oxford, sorry. Oxford University Press books are pretty good. I would say even just go on Amazon, look up, let's say like one of the books in my list, figure out what the publisher is, and then start going through the publishers, because Amazon puts the publishers there usually, which is easy. Also, there's a AI called Elicit, which you put in questions like Google, but it gives you research papers. And they're the way that the algorithm for that is way better than, because AI based is way better than anything like Google Scholar or anything like that. And then you hit up your friend with a university library access, and then you start looking at stuff. And then this is the other thing that I try to explain, because we were talking about earlier in the stream, we were talking about the book Fearing the Black Body. The other thing that I always want to explain, but I don't know how to do it without sounding like an asshole, like a hoity-toity academic, I guess. Now, let me know if this makes any sense. Normal people have a ceiling on their reading ability. As in, oh my god, my dog was eating something. Hold on. Random segue. He always eats these little jewelry bags. He didn't eat the jewelry inside. Oh, this one's empty anyway. Okay. Well, anywho. Oh, that's okay, Isaac. Anyway, so normal people have a ceiling for their ability to read stuff, okay? Because there's a point where you need to learn how to read higher level text. And that's also why pushing something, let's say if we're talking about fat activists again, about the book Reading the Black Body, or not Reading the Black, Fearing the Black Body, is a bit of an issue because most people will not be able to read it and actually understand what it's saying. And I think that leaves room for people to take it in a way that is not on, which is not on the actual values that it's trying to put forward, and can instead like use it for evil, if that makes sense. And that's why you get a lot of people, like I remember I talked about this in my YDHB video, like the rhetoric of YDHB, that she's not understanding what she's reading. And she's taking little out of context pieces and then using them to like be transphobic and stuff. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. The Red Bull is messing me up. Anyway. You need to learn academic reading. So you need to start with guided text. So what the science communications course I was talking about earlier is a course on that. They wanted me to teach academic reading in the science context because I specialized in scientific literature in my undergrad. So essentially, there's a ceiling that you hit before you have those skills built in. And one of those skills also comes from recognizing publishers, recognizing media literacy, recognizing what sources are good. One thing that I taught my students is to like what brand affiliations are. So I hypothetically, allegedly in Minecraft, am a big hater of the Bell Telecompany in Minecraft, allegedly. Even though I'm using their internet. They're the only ones with gigabit internet, okay? Anyway, and they do the campaign every year, like the Bell Let's Talk campaign. And I find that campaign to be a weird, predatory business tactic disguised as philanthropy. Because it's like, oh, use your Bell services a ton, and then we'll give money based on the amount that you use. And you're going to do free advertising for Bell so that we do charity donations that we're going to write off on our taxes from money that we had anyways. That's the other thing I always tell them. I'm like, well, if Bell was such a had so much philanthropy, they already had the money because you're not giving them money, right? It's just from using like from a text or from whatever. So why all they're doing then is they're getting free advertisement from people worth way more money, worth way more money than the amount that they're donating. Let's say even if they donate $1 million, hundreds of thousands of Canadians putting on their social media to everyone they know, doing all this stuff, the hashtags, the tweets, the traffic. When you look on Bell Let's Talk To, there's like 30,000 tweets about Bell. That's worth way more than the money that they give away. And yes, they treat their employee. My mom was a Bell employee for a really long time, for like 20 years. And like my whole life, she's been like, Mika, don't work there. In Minecraft, of course. Yeah, so I tell the students, I say, read about this. I did this like as a exercise for one of my courses in English when I was doing like English teaching classes and stuff, where I said, look on how CTV reports on Bell versus how CBC reports on Bell. CTV is Canadian Television Network, whatever, which Bell funds, versus CBC, which is funded by the government. And the one funded by the government was like, Bell's controversies for this and da-da-da. And then the CTV was like, oh my god, guys, Bell's breaking records on the amount of money they raise, guys. They're so epic. And I would just say, like, look at the difference between the one funded by these people. Right? So that's something that I try to teach the kids if I can. But I don't do that necessarily with, I was placed both times with 7th and 8th graders. I started my first internship with grade 11, which was when I was going to teach this. But as I showed earlier, me and the guy had a bit of a disagreement, which resulted in me essentially almost failing the term. Or not failing, getting it pushed like a year. Because of me not wanting to teach J.K. Rowling in a positive context. Allegedly, hypothetically, in Minecraft, maybe. Allegedly. I might be lying. So, yes, CBC is Radio Canada in Quebec. Anyway. I didn't teach that the exact same way with the 7th and 8th graders because I didn't want them to go home and misunderstand what I'm saying and then get like sucked into like conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not quite enough reasoning ability in that way yet. You know? So instead I taught them like things like if somebody writes always about the same thing and they, make a lot of money always writing about the same thing, check somewhere else too. I kind of did that, but I didn't do anything too crazy with them. But if I was doing that for like CEGEP or university students, like I would go crazy. Like, so yeah. This like stream really feels like I'm just blowing smoke up my own ass. But like I'm just trying to state my intentions because I feel like I've been here long enough and enough people know about me and what I'm like to where I can clarify this. And I think something else I'm going to have to acknowledge is I'll never be that popular because I don't make digestible content. Because I find if I tried to do that, it would be inauthentic. So I will probably always have to work at the same time. I think I'm always going to have I have an email that you could add to something. But I understand a lot of French, actually. My whole family's French. I just speak English because I went to English school. So my accent's fine and everything, but I'm too anxious on stream and I sound incredibly anglais if I speak French on stream. Even in my videos, a couple times I've done it in my videos, I'm like, good God, my accent's awful. It's not normally that bad. I just don't like being filmed, and I don't like being on camera, so. Oh. Yeah, anyway, that's what's happening with that. Like the Matt Rife thing. Not teaching J.K. Rowling's a top dog move, bro. Oh my God. I think that meeting with this, so I had to have a meeting before I got like cut, essentially. It was between like me, the supervisor, and the guy. Girl, you know how they say, like, they talk about Gen Z? Oh, it's Fig Apple Red Bull. It's the best one. I have a friend who, weirdly enough, I dated in high school, but doesn't matter. He put me on these, and now I am an addict. These are so good. This one and the Clementine Strawberry one I really like. I love how you use francophone. Make it a slam dunk XQC. Yeah. Yep. Yes, I pull the French out like randomly for no reason once in a while. Same thing as I did my first foodie beauty video. This is when I still lived in Waterloo. And there was like the CPAP rescue, and then the cops, like the Gatineau police, came in, and I translated the Gatineau police in real time on the screen. Same thing as I did a stream, which I could do another one later now that I have time, where I translated the French Amberlynn Reid documentary in real time. And then there were people who were actual translators that were like, you did a pretty decent job. Because I didn't watch them in advance, so I had no idea what the content was. And I was just doing it based on the subtitles. But yes, Candace, but it's spaced out. My username on everything pretty much is this. How can we... The internet peaked at CPAP rescue. It was incredible. But yeah, as far as the Matt Rife stuff goes too, I think I'm going to pull up like research papers in relation to satire and look at some of those and see kind of what the viewpoint is. I'm also going to I'm going to find some feminist texts to kind of talk about like women in society, because I do want to look at that. But yeah, it's definitely like... Oh, it's for library. Oh my God, sorry. I can't read. Anyway. Yes, this wasn't meant to be... Like I said, I think what I'm trying to do... I want to be Curtis Connor so bad. You know what I mean? I want to be able to like sit here once in a while and like make a video on like Digimon, or make a video... I don't like Digimon, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. I would like... What am I obsessed with? The PlayStation 2 Harvest Moon game? Or like the specs of my PC, or what else do I like that's kind of boring? Well, makeup, anything like that, and it do well for me. But I just don't have that sort of... I don't have the editing style, and I don't have the personality for it. You know, so it's like I've been pretty like decent like internet friends with Austin Green for a long time, whose Nick is not Green's brother. And recently he's been doing, and his style is that very digestible, you know, really peppy edits, very clean looking, very, very PG. And he's getting like 300,000 views a video all of a sudden. And I'm just like, I wish I could do that. You know, I wish I had the ability to make content like that, because I am very clear. I understand so deeply how well that does, but I just don't have it, you know? And I also just don't want to be inauthentic that way, where it's like, I just don't have it. Like, let's say I wanted to do makeup. I'm not like conventionally attractive enough, really. If I wanted to do, and rich enough, really, because I don't have, I buy makeup like once a year. The winter Sephora sale, I buy everything, and that's pretty much it. Like, I restock everything, and then I don't buy a lot because I can't afford it. So I can't do makeup content, because you need to constantly be buying stuff, or you need to be extremely talented, which I'm not. And then if we're doing like digestible content, I need to be more family friendly. I need to be funnier, and I'm only funny like with somebody else. I'm not funny by myself. I have never been funny by myself. I can't really write jokes. I don't understand how to do that. It's I hope a passion project will offer you even without hiring an editor. Yeah. I think like now that I won't be yeah, I think for me it's like I need the time to make content enough that I can throw in some of those more, like I tried to do like a Jubilee reaction a la Anna Marie Forcino, and that flopped horribly. Like, the thing with me is like, even if I don't talk about the exact perfect topic, it will not even crack like 10,000 views. You know, and the thing is that because of the way that I am and the effort that I feel the need to put in and my inability to do things on the fly like that, it takes me hours and hours. So if I work 6 hours on a video, let's say, and then why's my boyfriend in the car? Where's he going? Okay, well, whatever. I work, let's say, 6 hours. My video gets 6,000 views. That's like $30. Maybe not. It's like 80 or $100. But it's like, you know, I just don't have the financial means to do that right now. Really interesting. All your articles today shed some light on this sad month of November. Yeah. You know, so that's the position that I'm in, kind of. A lot of people are always telling me, like, oh, just do what you want. Do it. You can't. You can't. I have an alt Twitter where I rant about this all the time because I feel bad doing it on my public one, because I don't want to seem like I'm like, oh my god, I get paid disproportionately high amounts of money to do a job that's pretty easy, but because I don't always get to do exactly what I want, you need to feel bad for me. Like, I get it. Okay? I literally have worked kitchen jobs where my managers have struck me. Okay? I know. Like, I just worked in a high school for 3 months. I know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have like a kid shove me in the hallway into a wall when I'm sitting here being like, hi everyone, it's me again, and squish. Like, it's not the same thing, you know? So I know not to do that because it's tone deaf, and I understand that sort of push and pull that happens, you know? It's just, I will never be an Anna Marie Forcino. I'll never be Gabby Bell. I'll never be Austin Green. I'll never be Curtis Connor. I'll never be Danny Gonzalez. I'll never be Nick is not green. I'll never be Ethan is online. I'll never be Noah Sampson or whatever. I don't have that same charisma, maybe. I don't know, but it's just the reality of the situation, and that's kind of where I'm at now, trying to reconcile with like the stagnance that I'm in and where it leads me, you know? Anyway. little bit of a bummer. I apologize. I know, that's the other thing too, right? Is like, my content is hyper niche. Like, so niche. It's like, because the thing is like, usually if you make content like mine, right, you're like Ro Ramden or Big Joel or ContraPoints or like Jay Aubrey or something, right? Where it's these huge like essentially masterpieces of editing and production and this whole total work, right? I don't have the ability to bet on something like, excuse me, let's say me not putting out any other videos for like a month and then putting out this like masterpiece and hoping that it gets 200,000 views so I can make up that money that I didn't make. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of do the sort of like factory, like quick production content, but then I apply the stuff to it in that pretty quick time. And so it's a mix of, it's essentially like halfway between like Nick is Not Green's second channel or whatever, like the Green is Not Nick channel, or I'm trying to think of people comparable, people who make content. It's not like Ludwig or Moist Critical because it's not that like surface. It's like, I say Green is Not Nick's the only thing I can think of because it's like frequent-ish content. But it's like weekly video content, but it looks like daily content, I think is what I'm trying to say. You know, I put out a video a week, but it looks like what Nick is Not Green could do on a daily basis, what Ludwig can do on a daily basis, what Moist Critical can do on a daily basis. So it's the same sort of casual nature, but it's casual pieces of like ContraPoint content. So people aren't willing, it's like they're, even though my videos are pretty long, they're still too short. Because the type of content that's so script heavy, so citation heavy, they want like 3-hour masterpiece videos. They want Quentin reviews 7 hours about Garfield, you know? So I don't know. That's where I'm at. A lot of you that are still here, I feel like if you want to ponder on this in the comments and stuff later down the line too, I'd like to hear it. I think it's just where I'm at. Cause yeah, my editing's not snippy. I don't have that sort of. Yeah, they do have teams. Yes, I understand the Nick is Not Green. Okay, we're addressing something right now. Clip this, haters of mine, if there are any. I don't really know, but clip this, for future reference because people keep asking me all the time. Timestamp it. 2 hours, 1 minute, 36 seconds. I will not comment on SuperMega anymore. I will not comment on Nick is Not Green anymore because of the nature of the situation. For one, the SuperMega subreddit is extremely prone to harassing people and is very, very vicious and vitriolic and very, very dedicated to essentially trying to make it that this never happened. Essentially to erase the entire situation for Matt and Ryan. Despite my video, me being critical of Nick is Not Green's videos, even to Lexi's video to a certain degree, in the context of talking about their friend that passed away, and I still it still has so despite me being critical about it, whatever, I was still getting not crazy, but your editing makes it seem like I could eventually post it. Yeah, no, my editing's very easy to do. It's very easy. Yeah, I have to make a whole chicken, so I'm gonna be eating late tonight. Anyway, doesn't matter. With Super Mega, the situation is too sensitive, and anybody watching it on both sides has a very, very clear desire for me to say very specific things. And if I don't say very specific things, I'm not willing to put up with the discourse of the other side that I don't appease. It's such a like the Super Mega stands want me to go there and be like, Nick is a horrible person and I hate his content and whatever. I used to like him a lot more than I do now. I find a lot of his sort of charm and effort has kind of devolved and is not really there, but his heart's in other things, I think. And then if I'm saying things like Nick is super horrible, da 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 da, then I would essentially have to be saying too that like Lex was attacking the wrong people, essentially, you know? And I'm not willing to do that either because she was mistreated. But then if I swing the other way and go, Nick was right, blah, 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 then I'm co-signing, essentially trying to loop in someone's end of their life as a guilt trip for an unrelated incident. You know? So that's where I'm at. Like, Nick faces somewhat of a disproportionate amount of harassment from this, especially because of how aggressive the Reddit is. But at the same time, they're right in his inability to, like, his forceful, like, nature of doubling down on that thing. But then again, they don't have the personal involvement that he does where he's friends with the person affected. Even though the strength of the parasocial bond for those that remain in the Super Mega subreddit, they're acting like they do. So I'm too torn. I even privated the video because while I was teaching, I didn't want people to try to weaponize that against me if they figured out where I worked or anything like that. Thank you. So Super Mega is just not something I'm willing to talk about anymore. And I keep, like, someone said it to me in like a super threatening tone. Like, you better talk about your friend Nick is not green. First off, I followed Nick a long time ago when he was much smaller. Nick has talked about me and knows who I am. And for some reason, the only one out of everybody in that sort of circle would never publicly acknowledge me in that way. Like, he never followed me back. I DM'd him. He never answered me. There's something that he doesn't like about me that I'm not sure what it is. Maybe because I would make a lot of jokes about the sort of like weird that you don't follow me, but everybody else does, that he thought I was like maybe trying to clout chase off of him, which I never was. I just knew his brother and I thought his brother was cool. And I'm like, yo, we should conversate also kind of thing, you know? Also because, like, his earlier content was something that I really wanted to do and I enjoyed. And so there's some distaste for me that he has, that he always had. Which is fine. Like, I'm not mad about it. And like, for a little while I was kind of hurt, maybe a little bit, where I was kind of like, oh, it's weird because it's like someone I look up to, but was also in reach of me to a certain degree, as far as like I knew all his friends and I knew that. Online, obviously, I'm not like going that hard, right? To have like this weird barrier. But then I don't know. Like, with him, it's like, it's very strange. I don't know. It's a very strange sort of relationship, especially because I do know his brother. And his brother's very cool and I like him a lot and he makes really good content. And when I'm talking about like his brother getting a ton of views and I'm not mad about that at all. I'm actually very, very happy with him. Austin's been on my channel like a couple times, and I mod his streams, and I've been in a ton of his streams. I've been on his streams even. I like him a lot, and I'm really happy for him. But when you're saying like you better do this thing about your friend, whatever, it's like you're trying to like threaten me into like commenting on SuperMega. It's like I don't think the other thing is like I knew who SuperMega were, or I guess I'm saying were because I think they're not doing anything. I don't really know. Anyway, I know what SuperMega is. I've never been into it. I've never been into that type of content. Thank you, Allie, by the way. And I've never been like in the nature of the game is you gotta comment on stuff that you don't know a ton about sometimes, right? So I took the videos themselves and analyzed them very specifically on their own. And then I also looked at all the Twitter stuff and I looked at whatever, but I don't have this like attachment to SuperMega. They made truck simulator videos. It's like so there's like a big nature of like separation there as well. And this sort of nature of like, you need to comment on it. Why? I said my piece and made a point to be very objective and still got thrown around. It's like, well, then clearly I shouldn't be throwing my hat in the arena. And sometimes you got to learn to shut the hell up. And that's what I'm trying to do. So that's why I'm not making another SuperMega video. Because I just feel too conflicted with all of the different stuff happening at the same time. And I just feel like Matt and Ryan are kind of in a position where they're not sure if they're even going to make content anymore. So what's the point of like throwing something else in? Ethan's not uploading. I haven't seen anything from him in a very long time. Or from them, sorry. I haven't seen anything from them in a really long time. Nick's making, respectfully, what some people define as slop content, which is just really quick, like, drama videos where you just watch a couple TikToks with yourself on the screen. So it's not things that I really need to, like, unpack or anything. Slop content is a joke within the, I think it's, like, pyrocynical, because I used to be a fan of him. Oh my god, don't even get me started on that. Anyway, so I still have the subreddit. I still follow the subreddit. So I just like to see what's going on, because of all the involvement with Colossal's Crazy and Nerd City, and I like to keep my toe in BreadTube. Like I like to know what they're doing, you know. And they call like the daily drama videos that are usually done like in their stream setup and really quick. They call it slop content. So it's not the content necessarily bad, it's that it's quick and low effort. But that's what Nick's been doing essentially while he's on tour. So it's like, what am I supposed to unpack? Like, a really complex rhetoric analysis on like sitting here, essentially doing like what, like this.
Because she's not very good.
This creator just destroyed Matt Rife. Save this video, bro.
Who do you hate? Come on. That's the thing. I don't really hate anybody.
C'est pas rien. Like I can't do anything with that, you know? So it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at. So, gamers, no SuperMega videos. I also have addressed it in comments. I've replied to many of them and just been like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I still get asked about it pretty often. I'm also not mad at the person who asked me, by the way. I just wanted to make it like abundantly clear where I stand in a way that like could be looked at again for context, you know? How many layers of react? Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, the other one, this one.
This creator just destroyed Matt Rife. Save this video,
Wait,
bro.
hold on.
Who do you hate?
Look at all of us. Look. I love that actually. I just came from a Nick SuperMega video. Like I said, I'm just not throwing my hand in there. I'm not throwing my hat in the ring. Because the other thing is like, what, like, and I mean this not regarding to like Lex's situation or anything like that. It's what do I have to gain in the sense of I don't want to talk about it. I feel uncomfortable and anxious about talking about it. If I have a negative opinion, let's say, it could contribute to further harassment to Lex. If I have a different negative opinion, it could potentially further harassment to Ryan and Matt in regarding to their friend that passed away. So that's also not useful. There's just nothing. Yeah, damned if I do, damned if I don't. Precisely. There's just nothing to gain. In the sense of there's nothing to add to the discourse that's constructive. It's just going to stress me out. I'm going to hate making the video. I'm going to be super anxious about it. And just feel gross. And there's just no winning. You know? Yeah. That's all. I've just been like, pretty please. Stop asking me. Okay. Epic and slay. I think this is where I'm going to end the stream because I got to put a whole chicken in the oven. Thank you. I'm going to change the title too to like something else. I'm going to be like, maybe I got to juice the views. I'll be like, addressing SuperMega. So what did we do today? We did Marissa Matthews, Matt Rife, addressing SuperMega. That's what the stream's going to be called. Anyway. And education system. Epic and iconic. Okay, you kids have fun. I'm going to put me big. Any last questions, comments, and concerns while we are still here? I'm going to try to do like a live or so a week. And like at least for the next like month or so. I feel like that would be fun. Last week of school break, yeah. And even though YouTube gives you like what types of videos people watch, my live streams are horribly unpopular. Because in the words of Sneeko, I'm too slow to do the stream. I'm not fast. But who cares? Anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. 2 videos this week, for sure. Because one of them's already fully scripted. I'm going to script the other one tonight. Record both back-to-back tomorrow. I shall have one edited out by Tuesday. And the other one out by probably Friday or Saturday. And then we'll do another live probably next Sunday or something for the funsies. Alright? You kids have fun? I will be sleeping. The thing is I can't do nothing. Because I just get bored very, very easily. So I had, like, when I had COVID this week, because of them kids, the 4 vaccines and the having COVID before definitely helped a ton because I had symptoms for a day. And I was perfectly fine. I feel great. I feel like no problems. You're welcome, Carlo. Yeah, so I will be doing stuff because videos is still a fun hobby for me. Like when I get to talk about what I like to talk about. So the Marissa Matthews was a fun video for me to make. I was just a little bit stressed about people understanding what I'm going for, but that's besides the point. So you kids have fun. Thank you, Debbie, for the super chat to end the stream. Love y'all. And I'm gonna get a new COVID shot soon too. Like 2 months after. I have to wait 2 months, but then I'm good to go. Bye.